Oh, mate. Oh, mate.
The morning after the night before, yeah, didn't work out, did it?
Didn't work out. What can we do to get us over this misery that we're feeling? Have you got anything at all that can preoccupy me for the next 40 minutes?
I don't know, maybe like just chat about Oxford.
Yeah, maybe a quiz? Tell me you've at least come up with a question for me this week.
I've got a question for you. And
Go on.
it came from a place of really enjoying the Sheffield United win and thinking, wow, what an atmosphere that was. And then it made me think about other great atmospheres at the Kassam. And there's not been games that really stand out. But if I was to take your mind back to December the 8th, 2002, what would you think?
December the 8th, 2002?
Yeah. It's not a date that like...
Oh my goodness.
Go on.
I know. Jefferson Louis.
Yes. Well done. So December the 8th, 2002 was the FA Cup tie against Swindon Town at the Kassam. What round was it, Dan?
Second round, Matt.
Correct. Okay, and the score was?
1-0 to Oxford.
And the goal scorer was?
Jefferson Louis.
Okay, so I've got three parts to this question. And the three parts are this. So name as many players as you can in the starting 11, which is quite tough. So hold that thought for the moment. And then the other two parts of the question are as follows. Who did we beat in the first round of the FA Cup that season? And the next question is, who did we go on to play in the third round of the FA Cup that season, and what was the score? And for a bonus question, who scored?
Clever trick question. Who scored for us, or who scored for the other team?
Both.
Okay. I know most of those answers.
Okay.
We'll reveal them at the end.
It was a great day. That was the first time at the Kassam I was like, oh, actually, we can generate some atmosphere here, and it was a good old day, that Swindon win.
It was a good old day. I've got a really interesting story about it as well, which I will save for the end.
Lovely.
I was going to give you a quiz, but that one is such a good quiz. I'm not going to dilute it. So, excellent. Shall we run the sting?
Go for it.
The big man with a big goal on the big occasion.
So welcome to the 8th edition, I think it's the 8th edition of You Are My Oxford podcast. If you've never joined us before, welcome. It's lovely to have you. It's a bit of topical chat, a lot of nostalgia chats, all about Oxford United. And it's been a lot of fun, and thank you for joining us. We have a growing kind of army of fans. Do I call them an army of fans, Dan? Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but a growing following.
Yeah, we had some huge successes on our socials, Matt, which I know you've been all over.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are now on. We've been on YouTube since the start, where you can watch this podcast if you want to watch. We've also had some success on YouTube Shorts, Matty, with one clip getting over 1,000 views, which is fairly incredible. And we're also on TikTok now, but you have to go to my TikTok account, and I can't remember what it's called. It's something like You Are My Oxford Dan on TikTok, and we're also on Instagram. So that is terrifically exciting. Brilliant. We are all over the place.
Yeah. So for those of you who have been with us since day one, you will know that Dan loves to make these wonderful, outlandish predictions, and he made one such prediction towards the end of episode 7 of You Are My Oxford podcast, which was that we would take 6 points from the games against Sheffield United and QPR. So we are now recording this straight after, or the morning after, the QPR game, and well, we took 3 points, which I guess I would have taken. So Dan, where should we start? I think let's start with the low point of the two games, which is obviously QPR. Where did it all go wrong?
Everything went wrong, didn't it? It was just they came out and they looked like they were flat. I can't remember the order of things, but then QPR went 1 up. Did Kieran Brown get injured when we were 1 down rather? But, it's just literally all the worst things that could have happened. QPR came with a team that all their fans on social media beforehand were saying, this is the worst QPR team we could ever have put out. They didn't have a recognised striker. So as soon as we went one down, we just thought, oh, this is going to be trouble because they're just going to sit back and sit back. Then we went 2 down, and it was like, well, that's just game over. Second half, we improved. We scored a nice goal. But honestly, it never really looked like we were going to. I never felt confident that we were going to pull it back level. And then obviously they added the third and injury time. It's just like the final nail in the coffin for that game. And it felt, Matt, really bad. Like it felt really, really damaging. Like here was a chance we could have been pretty much safe. I'm looking now at QPR on the table. They're on, 49? And I'm thinking they're safe now. They are safe. Whereas we would have been on 48 had we won yesterday, and a point or two from safety. And now those
we could have enjoyed that kind of party trip to Sheffield, but now it's going to be a very nervy trip. I mean, from my perspective, I've been thinking about the game for the last kind of 12 hours and reflecting on it, and it's it's that kind of thing. You ask the question, why do teams start slow? And we started slow, which is really strange considering that we come off the back of such an incredible 1-0 win against the league leaders. And, just around the stadium, the fans kind of seemed pumped. There was kind of a nice atmosphere going into it. The teams came out and everyone was charged, and, they played the video on the screen again, and everything was kind of getting pumped. And then it just fell flat. And it just, from the players' perspective, how does that happen? I've been thinking about it. And one thing that's really kind of that I've reflected on is like Brannigan is obviously like such a driving force for us. And he for whatever reason, he was not quite on it last night. And I just wonder if that injury, we know he's been having injections or this kind of thing, whether, he can't be playing 2 games a week until the end of the season. And, we've got 5 games left now. And you just wonder, how the manager is going to manage that.
I mean, that's such a worry given that we've got another big game in 2.5 days' time, right? I'm just really, really worried about it. I thought Brannigan, I'll never slag him off ever, but I thought he had a pretty poor game yesterday. The game just seemed to bypass him quite a lot. He seemed to be just second to every single ball. And we didn't get Matos on until much, much, much too late, I thought. I didn't think, well, some of the changes worked. Obviously, bringing on Mills had an immediate impact. I mean, he had that wild first 5 minutes where he scored a goal with pretty much his first touch, then got booked for arguing the line, and then did the worst pass in the history of football. I don't know if you remember that. He whacked it straight into the South 10 upper. But I thought generally Mills made quite a difference. He kind of stretched the game quite a lot more. But generally, we were just second best all over the pitch yesterday.
Just keep picking up on Brannigan when you say he was second best at things. I think, and I watched him for about 5 minutes. I was like, he's not having his best game. Why is this? And I watched him for about 5 minutes, and to me, it looked like he was carrying an injury, and he was just. There was something just on his mind when he was running, between players and when he was on the ball. But yeah, listen, there we go. We'll have to see. But like you say, 2.5 days time to recover this, and then we go into the next, Friday, isn't it? So it's going to be tough. And then, Mark Harris again, I don't know. I just wanted a bit more from him, and I thought it might be his day. But I've got a prediction between now and the end of the season.
Go on, man.
I've got a feeling, we haven't really seen him yet. I've got a feeling Bradshaw is going to have an impact. I don't know when, and I don't know how, but I think he is going to have an impact.
The smiling hipster is going to have an impact.
Smiling hipster.
I mean, it'd be good. But he is, as we've discussed previously, he looks like the happiest man in football, right? He's forever smiling. I love him in the socials. I'll just build our entire social strategy around his happy, smiling face. But... yeah,
just on Brad, like you picked up on it there. I don't know if you ever buy a program, but I've been buying a program every game this season, and he was featured as the quick fire questions in the program this week. And I always love to read the question where it says, what do you make of the city of Oxford? And some players are hilarious. They go, a bit boring or something like that. And you're like, wow, okay. But Bradshaw was like, I absolutely love Oxford. He says, oh, it's got great places to eat, great places to drink, great to socialise. And I thought, God, you're such a cheery character. I love you for that. But yeah, that obviously, you know, so I'm looking forward to seeing him celebrating his first goal whenever that might come. But I think he will score one, if not two, important goals between now and the end of the season.
I think we probably have to give him a start now, don't we? Because, I mean, as we know, I love Mark Harris and I love the effort he puts in and yada, yada, all the things we've talked about.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't look like scoring very much.
No, which is a shame. So should we now pivot to the next game? Or just any more you want to clear up for the keeper? Because I think probably now the best segue is to go, these two games would be the tale of two goalkeeping performances, maybe.
Good. Yeah, nice analogy. I'll let you carry on with that one.
Well, I mean, I haven't watched the goals back, admittedly. The first two QPR goals I'm talking about. But the first one's obviously a near post header. And, it's a tricky one because it's one of those where it's just next to the post and one day you'll flip it just around the post, the next day you'll bundle it in. But obviously the ball squeezed in. Pass coming for that one. And then the second one, it just kind of seemed to bobble about. And it was my only criticism of Jamie Cumming, and just let me caveat, but he is potentially my player of the season this season. I absolutely love him. I think he's been just a wonderful addition for this squad. But sometimes he doesn't have that presence to just, get the ball, take out the man, everything. Just slightly indecisive around his 6-yard box around crosses. And something didn't quite right happen then. So, probably one of his most disappointing games of this season. But he was obviously player of the match against Sheffield United and had a wonderful, wonderful game. He was player of the match, but it wasn't, if we're moving over to Sheffield United now, it wasn't ever as if they were all kind of routine Jamie Cumming saves, if you know what I mean. And that is absolutely... That's bigging up as much as I can because I have utter confidence in him at the back. And with the Sheffield United game, I never really felt too under pressure, really.
I mean, we're definitely on the back foot, but certainly second half, Sheffield United created absolutely nothing at all that actually really worried me. It felt a bit like the playoff final in that regard, in that, Bolton that day had lots of kind of pressure, but never ever looked like scoring. And it was kind of exactly the same kind of vibe. It was, we were just in control. I thought it was a really good 1-0 win against the league.
Really good.
As predicted by somebody here, Matt.
To be perfectly honest, I didn't see it coming, but fantastic. And then we have our match winner again, Mr. Dembele, who proved decisive and just kind of coming good, kind of when we need it at this stage of the season.
So the phone in last night on Radio Oxford, there was some criticism of Dembele's performance yesterday. But then, on the WhatsApp group I'm on, somebody was posting messages from their friend who's a QPR fan saying, "Oh, that Dembele was the only decent player you had. He was the only one who's getting you up the pitch." I think he does hold on to the ball a bit too much sometimes, but that's probably because he's carrying the ball up the pitch for us. And if you are doing that, then inevitably you're going to be holding on to the ball, and inevitably you're going to lose it sometimes. I think he got the assist last night with the cross. He's got 2 winning goals in 2 of the last 3 home games. I think he's justifying his place, to be honest. He is frustrating, but if he wasn't frustrating, would he be playing for us? If he was the complete package, he wouldn't be playing for us. So
when he's on the ball, something looks like it's going to happen. You're excited about what might happen next. So great to see him get a winner. And I think I was speaking about the Kassam atmosphere. I was trying to wrap my brains. It's one of the best atmospheres that I've ever experienced at the Kassam, especially kind of the last 15 minutes was just Wonderful.
It really was, and that's why yesterday felt so crushing, because everyone had been on such a high after Saturday, and I thought the fans really tried at the start yesterday, but as soon as we went 2 down, there was just that spell, like 10 minutes before half time, and the whole place was just quiet, eerily quiet. It's like the whole crowd had just gone, oh shit. Again, to be fair, when the players came out in the second half, and the players, I think, lifted the supporters, and the supporters definitely lifted the players. There was a much better atmosphere in the second half, but there's still, I think that our heart had been ripped out of us by going 2 down.
Yeah. Listening to the interview with Bennett after the game as well, it sounded like it would have been pretty flat in the dressing room after as well. And I think sometimes, you play a game of football and it's just not your night, and some things just don't click. And it certainly felt like that for Oxford against QPR. But any other performances you wanted to pick out from the Sheffield United win at all that you thought might have been impressive or worth chatting about?
I'm at that age, Matt, where I can't remember this morning's word or let alone. No, I can't think of anything now. All I can think about is last night, to be honest. Is there somebody you want to mention? It sounds like there's somebody you want to mention.
No, not really. I thought the Brannigan Folks thing, which when it's worked this season, has just been fantastic. I thought it was another, prime example of that. I thought the substitutions are really good. I thought Matos was excellent when he came on. But everyone kind of had a decent performance, and it was just it's just like everything this season kind of came together in that match. And I think at the end of the season we'll probably do a highs and a lows and things that you remember. But I really, really enjoyed Saturday. I just hope that come May the 2nd or 3rd or whatever it is, that proves that match will prove that it did actually mean something, and it kind of got us over the line. But we will wait and see.
You are my Oxford hot take.
We're going to do something, Matt, which we've never done before. We're going to do a hot take, and I'm not actually sure what it's about because it's just been sent to me 2 minutes before we started recording.
It's like a live hot take. It's like breaking news.
It's come from Andrew Dawson, friend of the pod, who has sent me this. I think it's about songs. He said it's about songs. So let's have a play of it.
Hi, Matt and Dan. I've got a hot take for you, which is about the words to the song You Are My Oxford, which is obviously the title of your podcast. When I'm hearing it sung on the terraces, I always think it should be, you know just how much I love you, or you'll never know just how much I love you, whereas I'm hearing a lot of you'll never notice how much I love you. And in fact, I heard it last night at QPR, and it sounded again like notice instead of know just, and that was the worst thing that happened to the QPR game yesterday. So I just hope you could clear that up for me.
That is fantastic. That's my favourite hot take so far.
Is it?
Now I'm like going over my head and I go, I think I'm probably guilty of that.
Really?
Yeah. You'll never notice how much I love you. You'll never know just how much yeah, maybe.
So what do you sing? When you're singing that?
I'm just trying to think now. You'll never notice how much I love you until you take my shirt away. Yeah, that's what I'm singing.
No, it can't be.
So go on, you sing it. Sing it.
You'll never know just how much I love you.
We're both different.
Oh, you're so wrong, Matt. I might start looking for a new partner for the podcast.
Why it's such a good hot take, because it's divided. Please get in touch to our podcast, and we can do a little straw poll. How can people get in touch, Dan?
On our many socials, Matt. The ones that you're all over.
Yeah.
This is probably a Blue Sky poll, I reckon. So if we go to Blue Sky, we'll do a poll on this one, and you can vote for no jest or notice. I can't even believe we're debating this.
You look so disappointed with me.
Like, honestly, I'm thinking about who else could co-host. Maybe Andrew. I'll get Andrew to co-host this now.
Maybe.
I don't want to fall out over this. We've got a 3-hour train journey together on Saturday.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think generally of some of the chant songs this season, and the use of them. There's a lot that have really kind of dominated this season, which I think are maybe a bit dull.
We've just literally been talking about what a great atmosphere it's been in the last couple of games. But I am always bored by our songs. It seems to me we just get the standard templated song that all the other fans are singing, and we just add our own players to them. We don't seem to do anything original or funny
100%.
anymore. There's no kind of self-deprecating humour. There's nothing kind of topical. I think our fans generally sing quite boring songs, really. What's your favourite song? What's your favourite player's song of all time, Matt? Or have you thought?
I used to like going. I used to like doing Alex Dyer, my lord, Alex Dyer. So everyone's enjoyed that. I always enjoyed that Philip Whitehead one when it all went really posh. Remember that one?
Didn't it go really slow with him?
Oh yeah. Philip Whitehead. That was quite funny.
I tried to start one once for Bobby Ford.
Oh yeah, go on.
To the song from the Bobby Ford advert. So it went, oh, Bobby Ford. It never took off, and I felt robbed by that.
That is genius.
I was really pleased with it, but never ever took off ever.
Well, that tickled me more than it should have done. It's brilliant. I think it's the fact that it's the body format. Which is probably why it didn't take off.
Yeah.
Oh, that is classic. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. There is a bit of uniformity, and they're all just a bit boring. But there we go.
You are my Oxford. Theo's Stat Corner.
So it's that time of the week for, in some ways, our favourite part of any podcast. It is, of course, Stats Corner. Theo's joined us as ever because something strange has happened this season insofar as we haven't been awarded one single penalty all season, which is strange. No penalties at all. So we asked Theo to delve into this a bit. What are the odds? Has it ever happened before, Theo?
Hard to find kind of exact stats on whether it's happened over a course of a whole season, but there is definitely some long runs over the course of English football history, including Port Vale, who went 73 games without getting a penalty, and actually the English national football team, who went over 50 games without getting a pen in the 80s. If we look at how many penalties they've been this season, which is 79, and then work out what that is as a percentage chance of getting a penalty in a game, there's an 8% chance of a penalty in each game, so a 92% chance of no penalty. And if you take that number and run it over the course of 46 games, that means there's only a 2% chance of not getting a penalty over the course of the season. I've also taken a look at how because obviously we're not that attacking, we're not very good going forward. There's going to be less chance of us getting penalties off the back of that. So I've looked at the number of touches in the box each team has had in the Championship and how many penalties they've got kind of off the back of these touches in the box. And unsurprisingly, we come right at the bottom of touches in the box statistics. Only Plymouth have had fewer. And we've had nearly half as many touches in the box as Leeds and many, many less than a bunch of the teams around us as well. So back to a kind of common theme of all of these stats kitchens is that we're struggling going forward, and therefore all of our attacking stats, including number of penalties gained, is going to be low. If we take all of the touches in the box and all of the penalties in the league this season across all 24 teams, there is a penalty for every 267 touches in the box. Now, we've had 641 touches in the box, so I've sort of done we love expected goals and expected assists, but we've now got expected penalties off the back of this, and we should be due 2.9 penalties based on our number of touches we've had in the box. probably a strong argument that not all touches in the box are created equally. But just to give a little indication of, we're at the bottom of the stats table when it comes to touches in the box, but we've still had enough that probably should have resulted into 7 penalties, and we've been fairly unlucky not to get any. There's only one other club, though. We're the only one that hasn't had a penalty, but there is one other club who hasn't scored any of the penalties that they've had in the Championship this season, and that's Cardiff, who have had one and missed one. And there is a huge variety in just how many penalties clubs have had. And if you look at Stoke, for example, they've had, I think it's 5 or 6 penalties compared to our 0. Luton's 2, Cardiff's 1. Watford have had 7, Pompey have had 5. So it could definitely play a role in how the Championship kind of falls out at the end of the season, and definitely making our life harder.
But the good news is, you say we are owed 2.9 penalties. So come the end of the season, we're going to have got those 3 penalties at least, right?
Well, if you could hold on to that stat as saying we should have got those 3 penalties, or you can nod to what I said right at the start, that there is only an 8% chance of a penalty in every match. And obviously that's split between 2 teams. So the chance of those 3 penalties coming is probably diminishing.
Damn it. How's the kitchen looking?
It's still the same old cupboard, stats cupboard.
We will let you out one day, I promise. Thanks so much, buddy.
Now it's time for Nostalgia Corner, where we delve into the archives to look back on something from Oxford United's history. And Dan, it's your turn this week, and looking at a specific game at the start of the century.
So it's kind of inspired by your memory in the last one. You talked about the first game at the Kassam. So I wanted to then start thinking about the very last game at the Manor. There were actually 2 last games at the Manor, which doesn't make any sense really, but there were 2. There was the last league game, which was a match against Port Vale. It was on a Tuesday night, and I'm wearing this shirt because this is the shirt of that season. This was the worst Oxford team probably in living memory ever. In fact, probably the worst Oxford United team of all time, and probably one of the worst football teams of all time. They were absolutely abysmal.
And definitely our worst manager, would you say?
Well, he'd actually been sacked that morning, the morning of the game that I'm talking about, if I recall correctly. I mean, I never know if a team is that bad. I never know if it's the manager's fault or other problems at the club. The whole club was a total and utter shambles. There's an amazing piece by Oxblogger on the 2000 and whatever season it was, 2000-2001 season, which just highlights the shambles the club was. We were in kind of financial ruin. We were incredibly badly run. All the attention of the owner, Mr. Kassam, at the time was on getting the stadium done. He'd kind of neglected the team. He'd made some appalling decisions in appointing people like David Kemp. We'd reached the end of the season in an absolute mess. And it seemed such a shame that the last ever game at the Manor Ground, Matt, was watching this team, this appalling, rubbish, useless team. The reason I think about this game, Matt, is because obviously this is the last ever game at the Manor Ground, somewhere where we had so many amazing memories, a ground full of such, incredible nostalgia and, all these incredible things we'd watched unfold, and we had to watch this team play on this hallowed turf. And it's heartbreaking, Matt. And what's really heartbreaking about it is the club just seemed so not fussed about this whole occasion. There was, before the game, a tiny little fireworks display. I've been searching around for footage, and we'll talk about this. I'm going to play some footage here. This is the only footage that is kind of out there, really.
So where's this from then?
So this is from BBC News, who weren't rights holders at the time. So there's no match action at all. They obviously are allowed to get on the pitch beforehand. There's our Mr. Kassam. There's a crappy firework display.
Was Rosie over his shoulder?
Oh, very young looking Rosie.
Yeah.
And the whole thing's just like I don't know. It was such a shame, Matt, that it all ended like this. The match itself was crap. We went 1-0 up, and fittingly for that season, the very last action that ever happened at the Manor ground was Port Vale equalised with the very last kick of the game. And that was it. I just have so few memories of something that should be so important in my life, and the fact that no one at the club thought to really send in a camera person to really capture the atmosphere of the last day. I have this vague memory, Matt, of us singing all of our favourite songs of former players, but I'm not sure if that happened or not because there is no kind of footage of it anywhere. That no one thought. And this was before camera phones and stuff, but no one thought this is a really historical, important moment that's happening.
To just pick up on that point, I was at the game too, and I cannot remember anything about it. I can't even, seeing those Kassam shots and the files, I can't even remember that. I remember I was at the game, and I remember it being quite poignant, and me and my dad went and saying, "Oh, this is the end of an era, really." But I mean, now looking back, you're absolutely right. There was nothing to no kind of say marking this as a final part of such a historic era. You're right.
It just seems such a wasted opportunity. I mean, these days, right? I'd have got my smartphone and I'd have gone round and I'd have just spent the entire game taking pictures, taking bits of video, recording the atmosphere, and everyone would have done that. Somebody did. There is, if you go onto YouTube, and I hope they don't mind me, I've kind of downloaded it and done a quick edit of it, but there is this incredible kind of Blair Witch-like footage that somebody's filmed on their, whatever it was, their little handheld camcorder. And it's in some ways it's the worst footage you've ever seen. It's just so badly filmed, but also it's just wonderful because of it, because it really does kind of capture the atmosphere. And he's got all the things. So he's got the fanzine sellers outside. He's got going into the club shop. There's walking up that kind of alleyway up to the London Road.
Yeah.
He even films inside the urinals. There is
I mean, there's one bit that really stood out for me, which just is that kind of analog time. At the start of the London Road entrance, you've got someone selling the Oxford Mail, someone selling a programme, and someone selling a fanzine, which, I just loved kind of looking back at that. But then, at the start of London Road, you just realise that the club was just in a bad way. And you look at the big Manor ground sign of the outside, there you go, the Oxford United one. Even that was in terrible disrepair, wasn't it? But yeah, loved watching this footage. Yeah, like you say, brilliant and awful in equal measure.
So yeah, I think my memory is, this just seems like, I wish there was more of a memory, I think is my memory of it. I wish I remember more about this game. I wish the club had done more to market. I wish, smartphones had existed properly back then, because there'll be so much more to remember about this amazing ground. I do remember, though, there was one more game after this, which was an Oxford United against QPR recreation of the 1986 Milk Cup final. They got as many of the players together as possible from that. And in the morning of that game, we organised a fanzine football match, Yellow Fever against Rage On. Then we played that game. Then we went to the pub and got drunk. Then we went and watched this game at the Manor, the QPR one. And then went back to the pub, and there's a really beautiful summer's evening. And me and my friend Neil, he won't mind me telling this story, I'm sure, we're walking past the Manor, and the gates were open. And we looked at each other. We're still in our Oxford United kit that we've been wearing from the fans' football match. And we'd obviously had a few pints. We looked at each other and went, shall we go in? And we went in, and it was just totally abandoned. And we walked onto the London Road terrace, no one there. And the gate, Matt, to the pitch was open. And we're dressed in full Oxford United kit. We had a football in the bag for the match in the morning. And we looked at each other. There's only one thing that we were going to do. There's only one thing we're ever going to do at this point. So we went straight onto the pitch and spent about 2 hours drunkenly recreating all the great goals from Oxford's history. Of course we did. What else were you going to do in that situation, man?
I thought you were going to say we scored a goal and then scarf it off. We spent 2 hours recreating drunkenly all the great goals. There was a Matty Elliott flick-ons at the near post.
Yeah, we did the whole. But obviously, we're both really
Beauchamp
used
against Blackpool.
we spent a lot of time trying to recreate that, whacking the ball into the London Road terrace.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I went to the Port Vale game. Now that you mention it, I remember they put on that QPR game. I didn't go to that, but I do remember Oxford United about a week after the end of the season putting on an auction of kind of Manor ground memorabilia. And I remember they let people into the beach road, and then they kind of conducted the auction from the kind of the pitch. And there was all different like signage, stuff from the changing room. And I went there with my dad, and we didn't buy anything. We didn't bid for anything. But maybe a shout out to any listeners of the pod. If anyone bought a piece of memorabilia from that auction and is, I don't know, placed in their garden or, on their mantelpiece or something, let us know, because I'd be fascinated to know, because I distinctly remember that. And also being really disappointed that I didn't buy anything. And I remember, the big structure that's at the entrance to the London Road, the big, obviously, that was up for sale. And I would love to know who got their hands on that and where that ended up.
I think I've seen that pop up on social media, whoever owns it. I remember they bought it, and then I'm sure I remember this happened. They bought it, and then they realised they'd have to take it back themselves.
Oh yeah,
I
think you could be right.
They thought it was going to be like delivered to them, but no, I think they had to take it back themselves. So yeah, if you bought it, take us a picture and send it to our socials, or if you know who did buy it, put us in touch with them. We'll get them on as a guest.
Yeah, well, as I say, any signage that you bought at that auction, and is now, I don't know, in the garden, or as I say, hanging in pride of place, let us know.
Yeah, I nicked, Matt, a piece of turf from the penalty spot at the London Road, and I planted it in my window box in my flat, and it stayed there for many, many years. It grew quite big, almost like a kind of triffid-like growth.
Wow.
I don't know what happened to it. I think it died one winter, and that was that. So, Matt, we are off to Sheffield Wednesday. On Saturday, we're going to get the train up together, which is very exciting. The Stella Express, you're calling it. How are you feeling about it?
When the fixture list came out at the start of the season, I was like, where did I really want to go? And Hillsborough was probably right at the top, because I've never been there before as an Oxford United fan, or actually as a football fan at all. So I'm very excited about it. The Hillsborough experience and going to this iconic ground. But I had been hoping after Saturday's game against another Sheffield club, United, the Blades, I had been hoping that it would be a bit of a party trip. But now it is obviously going to be a bit of a nervy trip. So slightly different dynamic. But yeah, excited.
I'm really excited. I've never been to Hillsborough before. It just seems one of those grounds that there's always something going on. Like in my life, the weekend that we go to Hillsborough, and I've never had the chance to go, and I really, really want to go. I bought tickets like as soon as they came out, and I've got the train organised, and now I've just realised I've got a family event. But I've told my wife I can't go to this family event.
Oh, the absolute classic! You've gone belt in 2-footed, and then had to retract and put your hands up to the ref. Like, I didn't mean it.
Yeah,
but I did it. So
yeah. So I'm in the doghouse over it.
So do you have to rush back for said family event?
No, I mean, there is no rushing back to be had from Sheffield. Right. Especially with trains up the spout. It's not like, oh yeah, I'll be back at 6. It's not going to happen, is it? So
so I guess we've got 5 games left, and if we look at them, this is probably one that you go, oh, we want to be getting something from this.
I mean, they're in such bad form. Have they lost 6 home games in a row? I never know if this is a good omen or a bad omen, because they can't surely lose 7 in a row. But
we've got Sheffield Wednesday, we've got Leeds, we've got Cardiff, Sunderland, and Swansea. So the rest of our season is going to be defined by Yorkshire and Wales?
Yes, that's a thing, isn't it?
That is a thing. I don't know why. I don't know why I've only just realised this.
I'm looking forward to you telling Sunderland they're in Yorkshire.
Apart from Sunderland. Yeah. So what do we think from the trip? Do we think, right, let's get a point and just keep ticking up the board, or do we need to go for the win?
I am going to do exactly what I did in the last pod, which is I'm going to talk realistically about how I'd settle for literally anything, but then I'm going to make a totally outrageous claim of 3 points guaranteed, Matt. 4-0 win.
I've got a feeling. Oh, I was going to go. We're going to win 3-0.
I don't think people listen to us for our accurate predictions, to be fair.
No. I don't know who's going to score those goals, but definitely 3-0.
We were discussing this. If we played Burnley, right, I was discussing this with a mate the other day. If we were to play Burnley, how many games would it take us to score 3 goals if we were to play them consecutively? Given they've conceded 12 all season.
Yeah. 11 games?
Yeah, at least. That's a thought, isn't it? Have to play Burnley 11 times in a row.
Oh, that'd be horrible. Should we speak about Kieran Brown just very quickly, because he has probably been our player of the season, and it looks like his season is now over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we get one of those statements saying, "All right, his injury is not as bad as first feared," but I mean, it does look really bad. So if you are listening, Kieran, and you're probably not, but if you are listening, do get better soon, and thank you for having a great couple of seasons.
Yeah, and Greg Lee should be hopefully back soon, do we think?
He's good. Everyone's gone really quiet on Greg Lee. Like, they were saying he's not far away. After the international break, he'll be back, and there's not been a peep.
We'll wait and see, but very much looking forward to the trip. If like us, you are getting the Stellar Express from London to Sheffield, look out for us. We will be wearing yellow.
What are you wearing today, Matt? You're looking incredibly smart today, Matt.
Well, I try. It's a weekday work day.
Very stylish. Very, very stylish indeed. Right, quiz.
This is a quiz that I said at the start of the pod, which was looking back to our famous FA Cup win against Swindon Town, which we won 1-0 on December the 8th, 2002. And I was thinking about that because I was famous kind of Kassam Stadium atmospheres that we've had down the years. And I particularly remember this game against our local rivals. And of course, it was a second round game. And we won it 1-0, and Jefferson Louis scored the goal, and we all went absolutely crazy that day. Of course we did. But my questions to Dan were, could he name the starting 11 that day? And then could he let me know who we beat in the first round of the FA Cup that season, and what was the score? Who we then went on to play in the third round, and what was the score? And then for a bonus point, who were the goal scorers in that third round game? So, Dan, should we start with the 11?
All right. I've been scribbling this down as we've gone through the pod. I've just had a total mental block about some of them. Right, I've gone Woodman in goal.
Yeah.
I cannot remember who played right back for us. But Robinson, I've gone as left back.
Okay.
Bound, Crosby, and I can't think who the other one of that. We always had 3 centre-backs, and I can't remember who the other one would be. I'm going to go with Hatswell, but I don't think it was Hatswell. Mm-hmm. Up front, I've got Basham and Allsop, with Louis coming on perhaps as a sub. And the midfield, I've gone for Whitehead, Savage, and Hunt.
Okay, you've done pretty well.
Okay, go on, hit me.
Whitehead was on the bench.
Right.
And then so you've got you've got 8 correct, and you're missing 3.
Go on then. Put me out of my misery.
Scott McNiven.
McNiven, of course, yeah.
Waterman.
Yeah.
And Ford, not Whitehead.
Ford, Bobby Ford. Oh, Bobby Ford.
Oh, Bobby Ford. Bobby Ford for yous. Is it? Did you intend it to be for yous?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Too good.
Been-
Anyway, that's pretty good. Yeah, Whitehead was on the bench. Hackett was on the bench. Lee Steele was on the bench.
So did Jefferson Louis start then?
Yeah, started.
Okay. Right. Now, the previous round, I cannot remember who we played this. I'm going to go Yeovil, but that's a pure guess.
It's a very good guess, but it's wrong. We beat Dover Athletic.
Have no recollection of that whatsoever.
And then, so obviously we beat Swindon 1-0. We went into the hat. I think the draw was made straight after the game, if I remember, which made the the excitement and the joy even more. Who did we play in the third round?
We played Arsenal. Famously, Jefferson Louis was caught celebrating. They had a camera in the dressing room, and he was naked, dancing as the draw was made.
Yes. How did I forget that? Of course, yeah.
So we played Arsenal and we lost 2-0. And Dennis Bergkamp scored one of their goals because it was like, was it his 100th goal for Arsenal or something?
It was something like that. It was a famous, I remember. It got played quite a lot, didn't it? Yeah.
But in the first minute, we scored through Steve Basham and it was disallowed for offside. And I think this is the point you were trying to get to. It was disallowed for offside and it wasn't offside. All the camera angles showed that he was onside. Who scored the other Arsenal goal, Matt?
Do you want to have a guess? I don't think you'll ever get it. And it was an OG. I'll give you that one.
Crosby.
Oh, McNiven.
He's just totally escaped my memory.
So well done. You've done well there, though.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, great quiz.
More of this next time. And I think Dan's got one prepped. So look forward to that.
I've got, I was going to do it today. I've just got one more story about that Swindon game. I don't know if we can reveal this, but we both worked at BBC Sport at the time. And I don't know if you remember, that night was the Sports Personality of the Year Awards.
Oh, yeah.
And we'd gone to the game. There's 3 Oxford fans working in our team at the time. And we got a lift back. I don't know who gave us a lift back to TV Centre that night, but we all went back to TV Centre after the game, and I was getting showered and changed ahead of the Sports Personality dude, and the 2 executives from Match of the Day were also getting showered and changed at the same time, and they were having a conversation about that afternoon's game, and the conversation went along these lines. One said, "Oh, did you watch the game this afternoon? It's one of the worst games of football I've ever seen." And the other one said, yeah, we only chose it because it was local. We knew we'd be able to get back in time for Sports Personality tonight.
Oh, I love that. Brilliant.
So yeah, we celebrated our 1-0 win that night. I don't know if you remember, at the Sports Personality of the Year Awards.
Yeah, we went to a few of those, so I can't remember that specific one. But yeah, good times. Good times.
Oh, good times. You look like you're dressed for the Sports Personality now, actually, Matt.
No, I can't reveal where I'm going after this.
Listen, I think it's been a lot of fun today. I've enjoyed that quite a lot. We're doing another one next week, I think, aren't we?
I think we've got a very special guest, also from the world of media, and I think we'll leave it there.
Media friend. Well, it's been a lot of fun. Do carry on listening. Do have a look at our socials. Do have a vote in the poll that Matt's going to put on Blue Sky for us. Yeah,
I will do that. I'll speak to our social media team, not just the manager, our team, and get one of them to do it.
Good plan. And we'll see you all soon. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.